So today's class will be given by His Grace Ram Giridhari Prabhu ji on the topic of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrit Madhya Lila, chapter 22, verse number 13. Hare Krishna Prabhu ji, are you present on the call?
Ram Giridhari Prabhu. We are able to see you in the conference, but are you muted? Hare Krishna Prabhu. Prabhu, I think you're muted. Can you try again? Hare Krishna.
I think so. You should call Prabhuji. In that way, he can see your call.
Yeah. He's on the call, but he's not talking. Let me see. I'll call him. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you so much Prabhuji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much Prabhuji for giving your valuable time and association to us this morning and enlightening us on this topic. I now hand over the call to you. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. We are reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 22, text number 13. Se doshe maya pishachi danda kare tare adhyatmikadi tapatraya tare jari mare. Due to his being opposed to Krishna consciousness, the conditioned soul is punished by the witch of the external energy Maya. He is thus ready to suffer the threefold miseries. Miseries brought about by the body and mind, and the inimical behavior of other living entities, and natural disturbances caused by the demigods. Text 14 and 15. Kama krodera dasha hanatara latikaya Brahmite yadi sadhu vaidya paya Tandra upadesha mantre pishachi palaya Krishna bhakti paya tabe Krishna nikatayaya. In this way, the conditioned soul becomes the servant of lusty desires, and when these are not fulfilled, he becomes the servant of anger and continues to be kicked by the external energy Maya. Wandering and wandering throughout the universe, he may by chance get the association of a devotee physician whose instructions and hymns make the witch of the external energy flee. The conditioned soul thus gets into touch with devotional service to Lord Krishna, and in this way he can approach nearer and nearer to the Lord. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. An explanation of verses 8 through 15 is given by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura in his Amrita Pravaha Bhashya. The Lord is spread throughout the creation in his quadruple expansions and incarnations. Krishna is fully represented with all potencies in each and every personal extension. But the living entities, although separated expansions, are also considered one of the Lord's energies. The living entities are divided into two categories: the eternally liberated and the eternally conditioned. Those who are ever liberated never come in contact with Maya, the external energy. The ever conditioned souls are always under the clutches of external energy. This is described by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita 7.14. Daivihi esha gunamayi mama maya duradhyaya. This divine energy of mine, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. The Nitya Baddhas are always conditioned by the external energy, and the Nitya Muktas never come in contact with the external energy. Sometimes an ever liberated personal associate of the Supreme Personality of Godhead descends into this universe just as the Lord descends. Although working for the liberation of conditioned souls, the messenger of the Supreme Lord remains untouched by the material energy. Generally, ever liberated personalities live in the spiritual world as associates of Lord Krishna, and they are known as Krishna Parishada, associates of the Lord. Their only business is enjoying Lord Krishna's company, and even though such eternally liberated persons come within this material world to serve the Lord's purpose, they enjoy Lord Krishna's company without stoppage. The ever liberated person who works on Krishna's behalf enjoys Lord Krishna's company through his engagement. The ever conditioned soul, provoked by the lusty desires to enjoy this material world, is forced to transmigrate from one body to another. Sometimes he is elevated to higher planetary systems, and sometimes he is degraded to hellish planets and subjected to the tribulations of the external energy. Due to being conditioned by the external energy, the conditioned soul within this material world gets two kinds of bodies: a gross material body and a subtle material body composed of mind, intelligence, and ego. Due to the gross and subtle bodies, he is subjected to threefold miseries: Adhyatmika, Adi Bhaudika, and Adi Daivika. Miseries arising from the body and mind, other living entities, and natural disturbances caused by demigods from higher planetary systems. The conditioned soul, subjected to the threefold material miseries, is ceaselessly kicked by Maya, and this is his disease. If by chance he meets a saintly person who works on Krishna's behalf to deliver conditioned souls, and if he agrees to abide by his order, he can gradually approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Om Ajnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin iti namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So today we are discussing from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 22, text number 13, 14 and 15. This is a very interesting topic because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is going to explain about devotees. In the last chapter, Mahaprabhu explained about Krishna, Krishna's abode, Krishna's incarnation, Krishna's opulences. But in this chapter, he is going to explain in detail about Krishna's devotees, which is we all. And hence, this chapter is all the more relevant and can have very deep insights for our progress in Krishna consciousness. This chapter where Mahaprabhu is talking about the process of devotional service, the current context is he is explaining about two different types of situation. And as we progress further, Mahaprabhu is going to detail out the entire aspects of devotional service. So he is explaining about how there are two categories of jivas and what are their behaviors and how do they operate. And the current sloka 13 through 15 and further, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is explaining about those who are all conditioned souls. This Krishna consciousness is a process to elevate our consciousness from illusion to reality. In the process of elevating ourselves from illusion to reality, it is our utmost duty and responsibility to constantly cross-check if I am out of illusion. So long as we are not come out of illusion, a reality is a challenge. As we always say, that so long as even one of the senses is anchored, the board, which is this body, which is meant to transport the soul from material platform to the spiritual platform, cannot move forward. Hence, it is extremely important for the spirit soul to completely purify his consciousness. Today, we are going to be slightly talking some technical and deeper aspects from Madhurya Kadambini to detail and to churn this particular purport of Srila Prabhupada. This may sound a bit technical, but has got enough directions for us to transform ourselves from Nitya Baddha to Nitya Siddha. There are clear-cut classification that Srila Prabhupada is giving here. Those eternally conditioned, they are always in touch with Maya, and those eternally liberated are always in touch with Krishna. And we who are trying to shift our position from illusion to reality, we toiter between these two realms. Forget about eternally liberated realm. We are getting given experiences for a fraction of a second or little more than that from the spiritual consciousness. We are given an experience of what Krishna consciousness is all about. We definitely are given opportunity by the Supreme Lord, by our spiritual master, by the Holy Dham, some taste of what Krishna consciousness is all about, and that taste and that experience is helping us and is a motivation and is an assurance for us to make further progress in this endeavor. Srila Prabhupada says, Phalena Parichiyate. The result of this Krishna consciousness process is experiential. It is not some blind faith. So hence, this illusion to reality is actually a realized statement. It is not some hypothetical or some probable possible. If we follow the footsteps of self-realized souls, if we embrace the instructions given by them, then illusion to reality is sure shot and accomplished one. If we do not follow the self-realized soul, if we do not embrace the instructions of self-realized soul, then it is 100% assured that we can't come out of the illusion. So either way, assurance is pakka. Either we follow the footsteps of self-realized soul or not. If we follow, we walk towards reality. If we don't, we walk towards or we stay in illusion. So this is something that is very clear and established. Mahaprabhu very clearly says that we become so deep into the lusty desires, we get engrossed in sense gratificatory things to an extent that we keep wandering all over the place looking for sense pleasure till the point in time we come in contact with the self-realized soul. So today we are going to have some set of reflections, and as a part of these reflections we will analyze every aspect that Srila Prabhupada is talking about. We will not talk about eternally conditioned soul because there's a separate explanation in the later verse Mahaprabhu is giving, and at that time, definitely those topics will be dealt. Today, we will talk about the conditioned souls and the reason for his conditioning and how Madhurya Kadambini is explaining, helping us to elevate ourselves. As a first point, or the first reflection, is about what Srila Prabhupada and as well as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentioned. Wandering and wandering throughout the universe, he may, by chance, get the association of a devotee physician whose instructions and hymns make the witch of the external energy flee. We have plenty of examples for this. Let's take 3 examples. First example is about Mrighari. Mrighari, up till the point in time, he met Narada Muni. His life was exactly what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has described over here. He was killing animals half dead. He was torturing them by, in various ways, removing their skin live when they are live. And those descriptions are pretty gory. So, Mrighari actually did not know the meaning or the word sin. When Narada Muni saw Mrighari, his first question, or in the initial conversation, Narada Muni asked, "Why are you killing this animal half dead?" Don't you realize that it is sinful? Mrighari has never heard the word sin up till that point in time. Because from the time of his birth, up till that point in time, that is the only lifestyle that he has seen and lived. I am not going to get into the details of Mrighari's pastimes. But what Srila Prabhupada is writing here is absolutely true. So hence we have to corroborate with an example. So I am trying to recollect and bring into the context that how Mrighari, as low as a person who is killing animal half dead, completely without any consideration, he got transformed as Bhakta Mrighari to an extent that he wouldn't even step on an ant. Of all the things that he did, from moving from illusion to reality, the turning point was his faith in the words of Narada Muni. Second example, Dhruva Maharaj meeting Narada Muni. Dhruva Maharaj decided to go to the forest to meditate for Krishna, not for self-realization, not for any other spiritual agenda. He got insulted. He had Kshatriya blood. He went to his mom. His mom directed, out of helplessness situation, that only God can help. And Narada Muni intervened and asked, "My dear Dhruva, don't go to the forest. There will be ferocious animals. You won't get food to eat. You will not have a place to sleep. It will be dark. It will be cold. It will be very uncomfortable." Narada Muni was discouraging Dhruva Maharaj. Narada Muni went to an extent to discourage as if that it is a sin that Dhruva is doing. Srila Prabhupada explains, it was Narada Muni's pariksha, it was Narada Muni's test. To check if Dhruva is really interested. And what did Dhruva Maharaj says? "My dear sir, I am determined to go and take darshan of the Lord and ask him for what I want to ask. If you can help me see him, please. If you can't, please let me go. I am determined." As soon as Narada Muni tested Dhruva Maharaj and he saw his determination, he gave him the process by which Dhruva Maharaj can see Krishna. It was not with full of devotion that Dhruva went, it was full of kama, lust, or arrogance, or ego, or pride, or whatever that is, but he had determination and enthusiasm. And we know the end result. Dhruva Maharaj became a special devotee. The third is about Srila Prabhupada and hippies. Hippies and Prabhupada's meeting could as well be portrayed as some chance, or it is just a fluke. But Srila Prabhupada's mission of coming to fulfill his spiritual master's order, to make Bhaktivinoda Thakur's prediction come true, to make Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's desire come true. The lives of hippies got completely changed when they met Srila Prabhupada. They never knew anyone apart from Swamiji. They didn't know Krishna. They didn't know Jagannath. They didn't know Chaitanya. They didn't know holy name. They knew Swamiji. And their life got, hippies became happies. And I'll give the last example. All of us. All the other three in the examples that we gave, probably we have heard them. But let us look in front of the mirror, or let us play the movie of our lives from birth up till this point in time. What was the most critical turning point of our life? I am sure each and every one of us can vouch and say, the day we met devotees. The day we got exposed to Krishna consciousness. The way we are exposed to this process of Krishna consciousness was the day of our transformation. In spite of us, okay, let me put it this way, in spite of myself, what I was, I am still here speaking Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. I know what I am inside me. I know the laundry within me. But in spite of that, I am in an assembly of esteemed devotees and still have an audacity to speak Srimad Chaitanya Charitamrita, which means the power of devotional service coming from a pure devotee is phenomenal. In spite of us, we are devotees. This is called result experienced. Sure, we are not yet fully pure. I am not yet fully pure. But at least we have a hope that if I don't leave this process, if I don't leave this path, and if I make sure that I don't commit any aparad, I will make it. So this conditioned soul, otherwise there's no chance of getting rid of these lusty desires. And this lusty desires is nothing but puja, labha, pratishtaha. Name, fame, position, adoration, these are all lusty desires. It's not just sex. So as a part of our first realization, reflections, or, it is extremely important for us to recognize our Krishna consciousness. The credit of our Krishna consciousness does not go to us. The credit of our Krishna consciousness go to our near and dear devotees who are helping us like they are taking care of a baby. Hence, gratitude forms a very foundational and important aspect of our progress in Krishna consciousness. It is very easy to talk about conditioned souls. It is very easy to talk about people in this Kali Yuga. it is very easy to talk about degraded consciousness. But it is very, very difficult to acknowledge that I am the one with all of them. Because we as conditioned soul always find ourselves overconfident that we are not part of this muck. But as we read Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srimad Bhagavatam, we are realized, we are reminded, we are educated that how much we are in the muck, in the dirt, in the dust, in the mud. So, gratitude towards our Vaishnava is one of the important fundamental quality that we need to inherit for us to sustain and make further progress. By Aghyata Sukriti, Srila Prabhupada writes in Nectar of Devotion, chapter 1, while describing about 6 characteristic features of devotional service, there is one of the points he's talking about is Shubhada, all auspiciousness. When explaining about that particular point, Srila Prabhupada explains what this Shubhada is all about. Srila Prabhupada says this Shubhada is that even if one devotee chants Hare Krishna Mahamantra sincerely, just because of that one devotee, so many others will get benefited. I strongly remember a saying from Tamil, which is a very relevant and appropriate one. Probably most of you don't follow that language. It's a very important, point that one, song. Tollulagil nallar oruvar ularel avar poruttu ellorukkum peyyum malai. Which means even if there is one good soul in the planet, because of that one single spirit soul, many, many, many people will get benefited. So in our journey of Krishna consciousness, we need to grab opportunity to be grateful to such people. Srila Rupa Goswami has given a definition. I am reading from Nectar of Devotion. Srila Rupa Goswami has given a definition of auspiciousness. He says that actual auspiciousness means welfare activities for all the people of the world. At the present moment, groups of people are engaged in welfare activities in terms of society, community or nation. There is even an attempt in the form of the United Nations for the World Health Activity. But due to shortcomings of limited national activities such as general mass welfare program for the whole world is not practically possible. The Krishna consciousness movement, however, is so nice that it can render the highest benefit to the entire human race. Everyone can be attracted by this movement and everyone can feel the result. Therefore, Rupa Goswami and other learned scholars agree that a broad propaganda program for the Krishna consciousness movement of devotional service all over the world is the highest humanitarian welfare activity. Further, Srila Prabhupada says, from Padma Purana is quoting, a person who is engaged in devotional service in full consciousness is to be understood to be doing the best service to the whole world and to be pleasing everyone in the world. In addition to human society, he is pleasing even the trees and animals because they also become attracted by such a movement. So Srila Prabhupada was very happy, bold, and he is very much vocative and clear that Krishna consciousness is the only beneficial program, and Krishna consciousness is received from a Krishna conscious person, and that physician is what we are supposed to be grateful for. And it is not a one-time activity that yes, I am going to say thank you. It is a gratefulness every day, because the Krishna consciousness that we received is also maintained by some group of devotees. Hence my first reflection, and always to highlight this, being grateful to devotees should be never undermined, and should never be given up, and should always be in the top agenda of our life. And what does being grateful actually mean in our life? How do you show your gratefulness? Because being grateful is a very easy, yes, I am very grateful. But how do we show our gratefulness? We show our gratefulness by three things. By being humble. Number 2, by following the instructions. And number 3, by sharing and preaching to others those instructions. This is what being grateful to the parampara means. Otherwise, being grateful is not a easy thing. So hence one of the superlative agenda in our devotional life is to learn humility, or to be humble. And whilst being humble, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, we try to imbibe the instructions and hymns. He says we can get nearer and nearer to the Lord. And what you receive, when you distribute, you'll become a special devotee. What we just spoke so far, we knew them. But we sometimes, in the process of we doing so many things, we tend to forget that I am doing what I am doing because of the mercy of so many people in our lives. So to make it practical, I'll give you a simple tips, which somehow I follow it, and if at all I consider anything that is working, anything that is useful, is because of that the tip is helping me. Every time, whether I am speaking Bhagavatam class, or whether I am doing some service, or I am trying to be part of a project, every time before or when we chant the invocation prayer, I offer the obeisances to all those devotees who have helped me in practicing Krishna consciousness, and I acknowledge, thank and give credit to the entire devotees, and because of that I feel myself safe and protected. This is not to boast, this is I thought as a tip. So every time when we speak, sometimes because we are knowledgeable, because we have information, because we have heard some things, because we are going to deliver something, there's an automatic pride that ride along with you. And to snub that off and stay humble and stay grounded and be grateful to the parampara, we need to constantly devise some techniques and tips to keep us grounded. At the same time, never stop executing the devotional service. I was giving a class the other day to some set of youths. The height of humility, has got two extremes. The first level of humility is to be extremely humble and not to take any credit for what you do. What is the top level of humility? It is to be in the top, receiving all the glorifications, receiving all the credits, receiving all the appreciations, and pass it on to the parampara. Both are very difficult. to be humble in the beginning place and consider ourselves low and simple is very, very difficult. What to speak of being at the top? Because what does Krishna do? As soon as you do one devotion service, one simple devotion service, Krishna pay you back with credit, with interest, and give you a reward. And we conditioned souls, as soon as we get a reward, we start to believe that I was a doer. Prakriti kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasaha ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. And the day we get ahankar, that's the downfall of our life. So hence, we need to make sure that this humility is exhibited, and humility doesn't mean that we shy away or we don't do. Humility means you do everything, but don't take credit. Be so grateful to the predecessors and pass it on. The day we do that, the day we don't hold back even 1% of what we did, and that day we will start to see Krishna within us. That day our illusion will completely go. That day the sound of Paramatma we will be able to hear from within. That day we will learn the purports properly. Otherwise, what we are reading now is simply theory. To get the theory practical in our lives, we need to get to that stage of humility. And humility has three parts of it. You be humble enough, and you try to apply them, and you preach them, and all the three we do it as a part of gratefulness to our predecessor acharyas. So that's the first reflection that I would like to share for us to eventually get rid of this three-folded miseries. Adhyatmik, Adibhautik, Adidaivi. Srila Prabhupada, every point in time when he was talking about his success in Krishna consciousness, he was explaining about his spiritual master's mercy. Many times Srila Prabhupada demanded respect. He has told his disciples how they have to worship him. He has told his disciples where he has to be put in the asana, how his name is supposed to be chanted, how so many things that Srila Prabhupada taught. But at the end, he didn't hold anything with him. He just passed on. That is my second realization, where such self-realized souls who are sent to this material world just to be with jokers like us, to transform our lives and eventually elevate ourselves to the spiritual abode. And these souls are very, very special because their internal consciousness is with Krishna. Their service is for Krishna, and they are dealing with people like us who doesn't even know who Krishna is. It is like somebody who is a highly established scholar. He has to, or he or she has to step down to the level of teaching somebody the basics of ABCD. And it is not one day. It is for a period of time. Sacrificing or kind of tolerating the separation from Krishna in one sense, even though they are always with Krishna, they are trying to elevate us. This mood is special and unique to Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Generally, all the Vaishnavas are merciful, but Gaudiya Vaishnavas have got a special mercy. It is said that people who are the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they have two-folded agenda. One is to serve the Supreme Lord, another is to deliver suffering souls. When Prahlad Maharaj was asked, he said that I will not leave this planet till I deliver all the suffering souls. There was one associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I'm forgetting his name. He said, until that point in time, he mentioned this, I am ready to take the sins of all the people in this world and ready to suffer if they can be delivered from this world. Such is the level of compassion and humility that they exhibited. So the second reflection is how this self-realized souls, which Srila Prabhupada is talking about. Srila Prabhupada is writing in the purport where sometimes an ever-liberated personal associate of the Supreme Personality of Godhead descends into this universe just as the Lord descends. Although working for the liberation of conditioned souls, the messenger of the Supreme Lord remains untouched by the material energy. Tyaktva turnamashesha mandalapati Shrenim sada tucchavat Bhutva dina ganesha kau karunaya Kaupina kanta shrutau Tyaktva turnamashesha mandalapati Shrenim sada tucchavat. Srinivasacharya is singing how the six Goswamis, they are completely engrossed in Krishna consciousness, that they gave up all designations. Tucchavad. For what? For delivering all of us. So, the second reflection that I want to talk about is the unique position of acharyas who step down to the level of Madhyamadhikari to deliver us. We need to be so much grateful and be part of his mission. So the difference between the first point and second point is, first point is general principle about being grateful and how to be grateful. But the extension of that is that we need to subscribe and be loyal to such a personality so that the mission continues. And as a part of this reflection, I wanted to say that we should take responsibility for all the failures to us and give credit to the predecessors. This will purify our conditioning, which could otherwise not be cleaned off, since time immemorial they got sedimented in our heart. So by just doing this, they can be removed. Now the third reflection. The third reflection is about Madhurya Kadambini says there are 5 types of kleshas. These 5 types of kleshas, because of which we are suffering in this material world, makes us as a conditioned soul. One is ignorance, Second is materially conceived or material conception. Third is attachment. Fourth is hatred. Fifth is absorption. Avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha. These 5 things makes us being eternally conditioned. Ignorance, which means to falsely identify ourselves with this body, avidya. Second is false ego or material conception or whatever you may say, asmita, which means to identify with the body and only accept things which can be experienced at the gross level. Like today's scientists, they don't accept anything beyond gross. If they can't see, if it can't be logically proven, that don't exist. Third is attachment, raga, a desire for material happiness and less suffering, as Srila Prabhupada writes here. Fourth is dvesha, hatred, aversion to unhappiness or the cause of unhappiness. Fifth is abhinivesha, one who is attached to sense enjoyment and is afraid that death will take it away. The above are the tendencies of people who are engrossed in sense gratification. So, Madhurya Kadamini says these 5 things need to be uprooted, and these 5 things, if we are cleansed of these 5 things, then we are towards reality. Till that time, we are not, we will do the cycle of birth and death. So for that, there are 5 stages of cleansing being proposed by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. I may take little extra time to finish this discussion because it's important, as well as we lost some time in the technology, so please put up with me. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says 5 stages of anartha nivritti that can happen, because we are talking about being eternally conditioned to slowly come out of illusion and to become reality. He says the stage 1 is partially we get inclined. When we are partially inclined, which means we are talking about I, me, mine and Krishna also. Previously, before coming to Krishna consciousness, we were about I, me, mine only. But after hearing Krishna Katha, after coming in contact with devotees, we are talking about I, me, mine and Krishna also. It's called partially inclined. So just because of being partially inclined, we make progress and we develop some hope in becoming Krishna consciousness. At least we can say we have boarded, or we have got a confirmation for boarding to go to the destination. That is, we have bought the ticket, or whatever you may say, that we have shown our inclination to make progress. To this stage of our life, this is the first stage from Anartha Nivritti. He is talking about 5 stages. First stage is called partially inclined stage. And the second stage is called almost completely stage. We did this seminar for almost 8 weeks, which is 8-hour session, which I'm trying to, compress this in next 5-10 minutes. So there are more details to this. I'm just passing on what is important only. When consistent sadhana and taking responsibility gets added to a partially inclined consciousness, and when fault finding and blaming others gets removed, then a partially inclined consciousness gets transformed to almost completely consciousness, which means previously my consciousness in Krishna conscious was, I was partially inclined. By just adding consistent sadhana to make sadhana as our second nature, or maybe consistent in such a routine way, and taking responsibility of it, and we also remove the propensity of fault finding and blaming others, then our consciousness will go from partially to almost completely, which is the second stage. Now, when our thoughts, when our desire, when our action gets aligned, because many of the times what we desire is not what we think. What we think is not what we do, because sometimes we may be doing so great Krishna conscious activity as an action, but what we desire is some followers. Our thoughts might be how to cheat. So generally, in a hypocritical world outside, action, thoughts, desires are not aligned. But if somehow or other, by endeavor and practice, if we could align our thoughts, action and desire and align it with the instructions of self-realized soul, and remove envy and personal aspirations, then the consciousness will transform from almost completely to completely. And from the stage of completely, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura says the next stage is called thoroughly. So what gets added and what gets removed? The thought of only Krishna and Krishnas should be in one's mind. Learning to see everything and everybody as Krishnas. Accept every episode in our life as Krishna's mercy, not as Krishna's punishment. And distribute only love and not animosity or enmity. And that person's consciousness will upgrade from completely to thoroughly. But he need to make sure that he need to remove something to that thoroughly to happen. And that is to be completely making his material life zero, with no jnana and no karma and pure love. Anya abhilashita sunyam jnana karmadi anavritam. So at that stage where there is no jnana, no karma, pure devotional service, that too only for the pleasure of my spiritual master and the parampara, and no personal life, with that our consciousness become completely to thoroughly. And the fifth stage, Viswanatha Chakravarti Thakura says, thoroughly to absolutely thoroughly. And that stage is just a transformation from bhava to prema. Actions are pure, thoughts are pure, words are pure. Krishna becomes permanent resident in that person's heart and makes it as his first home. And that person is called eternally liberated person. So there's 5 stages: partially inclined, almost completely, completely, thoroughly, almost thoroughly. These 5 stages are explained by Viswanatha Chakravarti Thakura in Madhurya Kadambini, and we discussed how at each stage we add something and remove something to go to the next stage. From partially inclined to complete to almost completely, we need to add Krishna Katha, and by adding sadhana and taking responsibility and removal of fault finding and blaming, we get the next higher stage, and so on and so forth as we spoke. So to conclude our discussions today, we discussed about 3 sets of reflections. The first set of reflection is about being grateful to the physician, devotee physician, who gives us hope in our devotional journey in spite of us. And being grateful should be exhibited. How do I reveal, how do I exhibit my gratefulness? Is by doing 3 sets of things. Number 1, by exhibiting utmost level of humility and serve that person or the parampara. And number 2, accept the instructions to our heart, life and soul and apply them in our lives. And as we are applying, genuinely help others to also apply. By this way, we can express our gratefulness to the parampara, and by just doing this, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains, we can approach nearer and nearer to the Lord. The second reflection is about the definition of those self-realized souls who come to this platform of Madhyama just to elevate and make us qualify. We need to show our commitment and loyalty to such a person. We may have lots of challenges and tribulations. We may have lots of commitments to fulfill, to be loyal. So, being loyal and committed to such a person makes our conditioning completely purified, and we very soon get to the path of self-realization. The caveat or the important part is that in this process of accepting challenges and commitment to such an acharya who is coming down to the platform of us to transform our life, we need to take responsibility of all the failures and faults that we commit and not blame. So this quality of giving credit to the parampara and our spiritual master and taking responsibility of our failure and be loyal to such a parampara makes us much more qualified to progress from ever conditioned to ever liberated. And the third set of realization that we spoke were about the 5 stages of transformation of consciousness, from beginning from partially inclined to be absolutely thoroughly. From partially inclined, we became almost completely, from almost completely consciousness to a completely Krishna consciousness, from completely Krishna consciousness to thoroughly Krishna conscious, and from thoroughly Krishna conscious to absolutely thoroughly Krishna conscious. And we spoke how at each stage we are expected to add something and expected to remove something, and by this process we can gradually elevate our consciousness. You all will definitely learn more on this in the future verses. So with this I end here. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. Shri Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. If there are any questions or comments, we can discuss.
Krishna Prabhu, Dandavats, all guys, to Srila Prabhupada. First of all, thank you so much for delving into this verse so nicely. And I think anyone who reads the purport will immediately be reminded of Srila Prabhupada. And you were so beautifully talking about Srila Prabhupada, about how actually we have to be so grateful to him for whatever he has done to us. And it is very important. It is very important to think and recognize that. And also, while you were glorifying Prabhupada, you were talking about how he actually, being such a great scholar and being a personality of such high caliber, he actually came down to the level of ABCD, which is very, very hard. And pretty much he taught everything solely by himself. So thank you, Prabhu. It was very inspirational to listen to this class. Also to see what all we lack and how we can improve. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you so much for your time and effort. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. And Priti Vilasini Mataji says, wonderful class, especially the instruction of how we need to progress according to the Madhurya Kadambini. And when you were speaking about that our Acharya has come down to our level, I was just thinking about Srila Prabhupada also, and how he came not only down to our level, but so much that he had to put up with, considering what a high class as well as a high-minded soul that he was, and what he had to come down to, what level he had to come down to in order to reach the masses. And he would go to the places, the previous quote-unquote gurus that would come across, they would always go to the places where the rich people were. But Srila Prabhupada went right down to the grassroots, right down to where he was most needed. And so that just reminds me, you very nicely, appropriately showed, how grateful we must be for somebody who would do something like that for us. And the other point I was thinking of is when you're saying that they accept these accolades or the previous spiritual masters in order to instruct us. And it reminds me how Jayapataka Swami, when his disciples requested that they be able to wash his feet and do all this stuff, and he was doing it not because he wanted all this adoration and stuff, but because of instruction, of teaching his disciples how to respect senior disciples and senior devotees. So thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I mean, you are reminding me of some episodes. In Hyderabad, maybe in 1985 or sometime that time, ISKCON was going through some crisis. So when ISKCON was going through some crisis, some political issue came up where ISKCON's credibility and profile in the public was going to be tarnished because of some mistakes or devote. I don't remember exactly the episode. So this problem went up to the level of the commissioner of police and the politicians. They were all, very, very upset with ISKCON. And the next day or a couple of days later, some action was going to be taken. They are going to take action on ISKCON. So Jayapataka Maharaj was told about this particular thing. So Jayapataka Maharaj, flew to Hyderabad along with so many leaders, and he told all the leaders to directly go to the temple, and he took the car and directly went to the commissioner's office. And he went to commissioner's office and he met the commissioner, and the commissioner was surprised to, see Jayapataka Maharaj there. And Jayapataka Maharaj, paid Sashtang Namaskar, Dandavats, fell at the feet of the commissioner and said that, please save our movement, Srila Prabhupada has, uh, given us wonderful knowledge, and if any mistakes of ours, please forgive us and try to save Srila Prabhupada's image. I don't remember exactly what transpired between them and what they happened, but by the gesture of Jayapataka Maharaj's humility and loyalty to Srila Prabhupada, the entire mood in that office got changed, and they completely, cancelled all their actions, and ISKCON was forgiven. So the humility part of it that I was speaking about is just not in words. In fact, in the next class, probably whenever Krishna willing, I would like to go over some set of progressive consciousness evolution where we as sadhakas need to reflect upon, because humility in words, humility in action, they are two different things, and only when we put humility in action, you will see Krishna within. Till that point in time, our heart will be filled with ego, thinking that I am humble. One person said, please don't call repeatedly I am humble, I may start believing it. So it may so happen that we start, many devotees call us, I am pure devotee, pure devotee, pure devotee, and we start, oh, maybe I am pure devotee. And when we talk about the other thing, oh, probably there are some cleanliness required, we don't think that it belongs to us. When a Bhagavatam speaker speaks in the Bhagavatam class that all these people in the material world are suffering, we look around. We don't look down ourselves. So this quality of being loyal and humble to the parampara is extremely important for us to make progress and keep the mood upbeat. Otherwise, we may become, some scholarly devotee and will not go anywhere. So thank you so much for reminding me of that. I just thought I'll share this episode. Any other comments or questions?
Prabhuji, Dana Pranam and glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Once again, thank you so much, Prabhuji. It's actually sadhya and sadhana is our aim to go. Attain the goal, but how to attain the goal? It's actually it gives lot of instruction and then knowledge from your lecture. What is our position? How long we have to go? Very nice class, Prabhu. Actually, that is the stage that you were telling, different stage, that was very nice. I'm also grateful. I have one question in how to be grateful. You were telling each and everybody who is helping in Krishna consciousness, we should be grateful. And then sometime what happened, Prabhu, myself I am feeling they were the devotee in the beginning, we didn't know anything. They used to help a lot, and then somehow or other we came to know Krishna consciousness, devotional service. But right now we may not have that much of communication, or some devotee who help us, even they are not going temple regular. In that case, how we can be grateful with them? Sometimes we make ourselves criticize why they are not going temple. Maybe we ourselves falling in the criticism, means fault finder, means how we can be grateful in each and everybody, and we can help. It's not we can help, but at least how we can be grateful, Prabhu, and not criticize.
You remember a long time back in this group, I've shared a song from Devaki Nandan Das. Story of Gopala Chapal I shared, and there's a song called Vrindavana Vasi Jata Vaishnavira Gana. In that, one part of that prayer that Devaki Nandan Das is writing, Hoya chene hoi bene prabhur jata das, sabara kariya vandon dhante karigas. He says that I will offer my obeisances to the devotees who were and who will be. So, if the mood is about offering obeisances to people who are even going to be, what to speak of who had helped us? In terms of being grateful to those people who are helping us, we need to pray for them. We need to thank them. We need to acknowledge them. It does not matter whether they are with you, around you, or you are in touch with them or not. because we all have one common Father, and He is very powerful in His communication, which is Paramatma. If we pray, what is the expectation of this? The expectation is, by we doing this, our consciousness changes, our attitude changes, our personality changes. To deliver that gratefulness to other person, the moment you think, Paramatma delivers it. And when you have another opportunity to come across and come in contact with such a person, you can definitely express it by words or things like that. But otherwise, every day, we need to constantly remember and thank those people because of whom we are Krishna conscious. Assume that I am going in the road and I meet with an accident and I am about to die. One gentleman came and helped me and rescued me and put me in the hospital. For the rest of my life is owed to him, because had he not come at that time, I would have died. So that gratefulness I need to express, and this cannot be, settled off by paying bills or, whatever some external grossing. You need to be grateful by showing a love. And for those people with whom you are not in touch, for those people who may even criticize, for those people who may even, try to question you, but if we keep our mood thinking that I am only the recipient of others' mercy and I am surviving by others' mercy, which is true also. It is not that, everything is on our own. We are surviving in our Krishna consciousness because somebody else is helping. And if we constantly remember that, we will not feel, anywhere pride to be not grateful. So, my 2 cents are that every day we remember and thank, if not every day, every week, at least, make sure that we constantly develop this mood of gratefulness, because that gratefulness will make the soil in the heart for Bhaktilata Beej to grow very conditioned. Otherwise, the Bhaktilata Beej, which is sown after so much of endeavor or some Agyata Sukruti, we will have to give a conducive environment, and gratefulness and humility are 2 important qualities for that. I'm not sure if I did respond to you directly, but then by we praying for them, by we remembering about them, by we acknowledging that on our own we will not be able to make progress had there not been them there, is very important. It's like they are extension. Like Srila Prabhupada saw his disciples as his spiritual masters. Even though they are his disciples, Srila Prabhupada saw them as a spiritual master in the form of a disciple. So Krishna consciousness is not a reactive process. Krishna consciousness movement is a introspective process. Krishna consciousness movement is a very reflective process. You have to be constantly in the mood of reflection and introspection. It is not about reaction. Unfortunately, we have taken Krishna consciousness in a reactive spirit. We react either positively or negatively according to external situation. But Krishna consciousness is not about reaction. Krishna consciousness is about reflection and introspection. Every time your mood should be reflective, introspective, reflective, introspective, reflective, introspective. Rest everything else is later, and it's even if it is not done, that's okay. Being reflective and introspective will come back to God. Because that way we will be able to constantly find out the anarthas within ourselves and become qualified enough for next stage of consciousness. Making sense?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, you are telling which stage we can see Paramatma in our heart. You were telling in the
yes.
You were telling which stage you are telling, Prabhu?
Paramatma, when you become very humble and when you try to acknowledge your predecessors and your fellow devotees for all the successes, and you take responsibility of all the failures, then you will start to realize Paramatma within, because Paramatma will pat on your back on that time. Yes, this is the spirit. The reason is, Krishna explains, in the Prabhupada explains in 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, that how Krishna is our friend. Krishna is our intimate friend. Krishna is eternal intimate friend. Krishna is eternal intimate friend who will not leave us ever. whichever form you take. So if Krishna is within us and Krishna is helping us, and Prabhupada explains that Paramatma to help us come out in the form of a self-realized soul and try to give us help. So the more you hear within yourself, which means more you are reflective, more you are introspective, the more Paramatma's sound. Prabhupada writes, intelligence is the representative of Paramatma. And if the mind is controlled by intelligence, where the intelligence is illuminated by knowledge, then you can hear Paramatma. Today, mind is controlling the intelligence because there is no illumination of knowledge. That is why knowledge illuminates intelligence. When intelligence is illuminated, it can control the mind. When the mind is controlled, intelligence is a representative of Paramatma speaking from within. And with that intelligence, we will be able to differentiate between illusion and reality. Is that okay?
We have said that when you gave the example of intelligent, yeah, and then we can find out what is the things we're supposed to do. And thank you, Prabhu.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Any other thoughts?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Danvat Pranam, Koti Koti Danvat Pranam to your seva. Prabhuji, thank you very much for your daily realization. Yes, Prabhuji, by Senior Vaishnava Association, and Prabhuji, I am studying in Varnakriyam, the school, and after 12th it is in English medium, but it is difficult. Whatever I hear, I have to translate in English. It is difficult. So that Senior Vaishnava is given a seva for 9 Srila Prabhupada's basic family. And Prabhuji, one day, that is every Friday, Prabhupada Mukta class. I think she is Lakshmi Mataji. So every Friday I am talking, Anjana Gopi, I will read next time, because I don't understand how to read Veda base. So that Mataji and me both are alone, Prabhuji, and Mataji will teach me how to read Veda base. And Prabhuji, from that day, it's before 3 weeks, I am able to make a post from Veda base, from Kunti Maharani, Nectar of Instruction, Sisi Bhagavatam, Sisi Chaitanya Charanamrita. So Srimati Radharani and our Guru Parampara is so merciful, Advaita Acharya and Panchatattva, that somehow they will teach day by day. And our Senior Vaishnava Association, they also, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we get the Senior Vaishnava Association, we are able to rememberize that Leela, and we are able to write down that Leela. All the mercies of our Guru Parampara, Srila Prabhupada and Senior Vaishnava Association. Thank you very much. Dandvat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki Jai.
Jai Vrinda Gopika, Mataji, you're so sweet. Jai, very, very nice.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Every time, sorry, 1 minute. Every time, Prabhuji, your realizations, it's work, Prabhuji. I have to hear second time in the evening time when I'm sitting with my daughter, so that the concept is clear. And I am able to write down. I am not able to write down in English, but by mercy of Guru Parampara and Srila Prabhupada, I learned how to enter in the database, and now able to make post. It's very easy. Within 15 minutes, I can make post. Before that, it takes 1 hour. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Dandvat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare
I will try to ask quickly a couple of things. One is, I just want to follow up with something you just said, that Srila Prabhupada saw his disciples as his spiritual master. So does that mean, when you said that, did you mean to say that he saw his disciples as being sent by his spiritual master? Or I wasn't sure what that meant.
There were two things. One is, Srila Prabhupada was always grateful to the parampara. And number two, Srila Prabhupada was giving credit to the parampara. And he said that, if at all I am doing this, it is only my spiritual master who is doing this. I am just an insignificant person. So Srila Prabhupada maintained that mood of him being insignificant in this entire game. And he said that everything that has happened is because of my spiritual master's mercy. So the point is that what I was trying to explain to the previous question was, when we try to give all the credit and take all blame on us, That's when we will be able to start to next stage of Krishna consciousness. The moment we give blame to anybody else, and the moment we try to accept a little portion of credit to ourselves, we are still in illusion. The first step of illusion is to give all credit to others and take all responsibility to ourselves for failures. It is a very heavy statement which might sometimes sound like a rude on the whole process, but that's the way it is. And if you really analyze, it is true, because if it is not working, it is because of our amateurishness. If it is working, it is not because of our intelligence, it is because of somebody else's mercy. So I was just trying to say, Srila Prabhupada's disciples, Srila Prabhupada considered them as Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj's representative, and he said that every success that is happening is because of my Guru Maharaj's mercy. So hence you are representatives of my Guru Maharaj, and also you are offering to Guru Maharaj, both ways. You are Guru Maharaj's representative as well as you are, an offering to my spiritual master. So I don't claim credit for anything. That's a mood.
Okay, thank you. Also, you might have probably answered this question through what you just said, but when you say that one way to express gratitude to the spiritual master is through humility, by that statement, did you mean that we simply give all of the credit for our success to the spiritual master?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
And the last thing is, one Mataji asked, I'm not sure I got the question correct, but I think she asked, if you're finding fault with how other devotees are conducting their Krishna consciousness, their Krishna conscious activities, maybe they're not so serious like that. How to be grateful in such a scenario? I think that might have been the question. So I don't think I understood the answer. How to be grateful?
I that's the reason I said that maybe I was not fully responding to that question. Now I can, because your question is much more clear than that. The idea is that let me put it this way. In Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, that's a very nice story. I'll not get the entire story because it's pretty long. One devotee asked Ramanujacharya, can you please explain the qualities of a Vaishnava? So there was a big set of sequence of events that happened. But finally, there are 4 qualities identified. A devotee is like a cock, a devotee is like a crane, a devotee is like a salt, and a devotee is like you. So we, as practicing devotees, somewhere learn to inculcate the quality of a cock, which tries to get some useful and eatable things even in the field. So it is difficult, but we need to somehow or other put it in practice, saying that every person who is coming in contact with Srila Prabhupada is somewhere or other doing some service to Srila Prabhupada. So if he is doing some service to Prabhupada, if he is pleasing Srila Prabhupada, if he is just contributing even a little bit to Srila Prabhupada's movement, which is also our agenda, should we not be grateful to that person? Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj once came to Mayapur for performing a deity installation ceremony or a temple inauguration ceremony. I think I've shared this before. And on the day before installation, he found one of the brahmacharis in the temple missing. And he asked where the brahmachari. Everybody kept on telling one other said that person is after a woman, that person is eating too much, that person don't do service, they always sleep, talks gossip. They were listing all the problems of that person. Then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj asked, why nobody has given even one good quality of that person? Is it not having any one good quality? So everybody said that he is a very good, singer. He sings very nice kirtan. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj says that everybody in this material world is suffering, and it is our duty to help them get out of the suffering. So unless you go and get that person back, I am not doing the, ceremony. So everybody went and found out that person in one watch repairing shop, crying, repenting for his mistakes. And when devotees went and said, Guru Maharaj wants you to come back, he felt so happy and offered his obeisances and asked for forgiveness, saying that I am so sorry. So the principle is that even to the most degraded person, we need to learn to see good qualities. And even how much ever good we are, we learn to improve our mistakes. That is why the formula of being optimistic on others and being pessimistic on oneself is the way forward in uprooting our anarthas. So my point was, being grateful is possible if we learn to see good qualities in others and learn to see rooms for improvement in us. If we just make it ulta, make it just opposite, then it is detrimental for us. Am I making sense?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, any other comments or questions? Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I don't know how I prepared, but I have a curious. Why Narada Muni, he does not come in Kali Yuga, Prabhu? Means, we don't have power, but before previous Yuga, just like he used to come, Dhruva Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, and then so many times we can see Narada Muni directly go and deliver the very...
Who said he's not coming?
Narada Muni.
Every day he's coming. Shiva, Sukha, Narada, Preme, Gada, Gada, Bhakati, Vinoda. You sing in Gaurarti song? Every day in Gaurarti, Shiva, Narada, they are all coming and dancing. You and me can't see, that's all. The moment we get qualified, he will reveal himself to you.
Okay. Yeah.
Bhaktivinoda Thakur sir, that's why he wrote. Otherwise, Bhaktivinoda Thakur did not write every name, right? He's writing what? Kiba Jayo Jayo Gaura Chande. What is he writing? Shiva Sukha Narada Preme Gada Gada Bhakati Vinoda. So he's saying Shiva, Sukha, Narada, they are coming and dancing in Gauranga Mahaprabhu's Kirtan. So I'm sure, Narada Muni is coming. Whenever Gaurarti is happening, if you happen to find somebody knocking over you and you don't see that, probably it's Narada Muni. Narada Muni is not confined to Yuga. Vaishnavas are not confined to Yuga. They are all very specific to consciousness. Where the consciousness is conducive for them to reveal, they will reveal. Where the consciousness is conducive for them to come and down to help, they will help. And there is no difference between Narada Muni and Prabhupada and any acharyas and self-realized souls. It is not that only if Narada Muni come and say, I will listen. Probably Prabhupada is representatives. So that is why all the Vaishnavas are representatives of, all the spiritual masters are representatives of Nityananda Prabhu and Balaram. So Narada Muni may come, may not come, or is coming, is actually subject to our realization. And he is not confined, and you can't confine him to a particular yuga. And if you have a very sincere, wonderful Krishna consciousness program, you would never know. He'll be around you.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay?
I was thinking, he is a great Vaishnava, but that's very difficult to see. Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Okay, So we can stop here unless anybody has any other comments.
So much, Prabhu. Thanks to all the devotees who joined and participated in this wonderful session. We can end the call now. Vancha kalpatarubhescha kripa sindhubhya